we received quite a large amount of funding to be able to expand what we had as global scholars to be global fellows. So we would have global scholars who we'd fund to come to our conferences, and we had very interesting outputs, but it was limited.
Yeah.
Because the money was limited to a conference. But we received a reasonably large sum of money, which allowed us to expand this program to be a series of global fellows. And those global fellows are asking some interesting research questions around marginalized voices. And I think that's one of the interesting things that we're able to platform. And that's where IFL is a bit unusual in that it's sort of a bottom-up organization and exists at various different levels. To take another thing, because you said a couple, within the IFL Research Center, we have a project that we are called Global News View. And Global News View is about getting more stories that are from around the world in front of a global readership. Because, as you know, agendas are largely set by what people want to read in, say, New York or London. And then you will see very, very little is given to, for example, Africa, or and when people speak of Africa, it's just spoken about in terms of its problems. So this is at the center of something to try and redress that. And there's another one that we're currently just starting out, which is a UN Security Council database with its decisions, and we want to make that more accessible and more searchable, because there isn't any way of easily accessing that. So we're engaged in a number of projects that help people research and that are build-outs from our work in the forum.
That's very interesting, in line perhaps with the work that I'm advancing, so we could have discussions on that. You have been mentioning the word global quite a lot as we proceed with this conversation, and it's quite interesting. And perhaps because the interesting work that you're doing is in fact global, international. And I want to ask you a final question for our conversation. The question is, how would you define global citizenship education in 3 key words, and why these 3 key words? I know it's a challenging one, but it's very useful, very useful.
I think understanding is a key one.
Understanding.
I think respect. Understanding, respect, and dignity. So if I were to choose these 3, and essentially they come at this, the very core to me of global citizenship is about the value of each human life. And I don't know if, but there's if you're aware of a writer and an activist called Sumie Su, who was Japanese, who advocated for the rights of the buraku.